Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shanna Register, and each week we bring you news and information you can use on your next real estate transaction. This one's really going to come in handy next time you purchase a home or get ready to sell your home. We're talking about mold today and what causes mold in your home, in your property, wherever you live, even if you lease a place. We're talking about that and signs to look for and what can be done if you do find mold in your house. So a lot of people don't know they have mold until they are sick, and then they go looking for the reason and find out they had mold. So we've got a mold expert here from AQ Testing Services. Linda Lauver is here, and Linda has been on the show with us before. She's got quite a background in construction and has been a mold consultant for 15 years. She's an expert witness in mold legal cases, and she is certified with the Texas Department of State Health Services as a licensed mold assessment consultant. She's been doing that since 2005. So she's quite the expert. So we want to have her talk to you about mold in homes, something that you definitely want to look for when you're purchasing a resale house. Linda, I guess when people buy resale houses, they really should get a mold inspection. Do you think everyone should do that?
I do.
Okay, so even because the inspectors look for issues, and then if they think there's an issue, they recommend they get a foundation inspection or an HVAC inspection or whatever additional inspections. But mold might be one you want to do no matter what.
Yeah, I think it is, because so many of the houses that are put on the market for sale, they've been painted and, cleaned up to make them more presentable for sale. And in so doing, they can hide issues like water stains, water damage to the baseboards or the particle board cabinets.
Right.
So it is important, because you can have big issues that are not obvious. In fact, in most real estate inspections that we do, or at least in most of the inspections where we find mold, it wasn't obvious. It's hidden. On
new construction, what do you think about new construction? I can tell you down in the downturn back in 2009, 2010, there were some really nice houses sitting out getting rained on during construction phases that they shouldn't have been getting rained on for so long. And then when the economy got better, the builders went in and completed those houses. And people wouldn't know. People buying those houses and moving into them would not know that they were just there out in the rain and in the humidity all those months unfinished. How do you know when you do testing? Do you go all the way back to the studs? How would you know if there's something in the growing, or can it grow from the studs of the house and stuff into the house? Well, once you remove the moisture source, once the house is dried in, will only grow mold if there's a high humidity or if there's actual more water penetration in the house. So whatever mold grew, when it was being rained on, if it wasn't cleaned up before they started putting the drywall on, it's still there. It's not going to continue to grow. But if there's very much of it, it can adversely affect the indoor air quality, because your attic, sometimes of the year, is under negative pressure, so it's pulling air in. So the house is pulling air in. So if you've got a lot of molded, framing in the attic, that mold can be pulled into the breathing zone. So the best thing to know whether you have mold in your house or not is just to have it tested. I recommend it. And you can have that done for around $500? Yes. Okay, so let's talk about some of the common things that, because most houses have a little mold in them. Yes. So what are some of the common things that people wouldn't think of? I mean, everybody thinks about when you have water damage, you have mold, you overflow the toilet, or you have kids who leave sinks running and they overflow. You think, we got to clean this up because we could have mold. But what are some of the things that people don't necessarily think of that are bringing mold into their home? This year, we've had a very wet year, very high humidity, and so the humidity in our house can get to 65%, either by turning up your air conditioner when you go on vacation so it's not operating. In 2 weeks, you can have massive mold growth. Wow. If your air conditioner is not controlling humidity, and we find that a lot, during these high humidity months, your air conditioner fails just a little bit. Even in new homes, we see a lot of it, in fact, in new homes. So I strongly recommend that everybody have
a humidity indicator either on their thermostat, or if they have a 2-story home, you can get portable units to just put on the desk or the table and monitor your humidity. If you find that you're running in the 60% relative humidity range, you're too close to 65%, and you could have a mold bloom. And when mold grows from high humidity, it's not obvious. It usually has to go on quite a while before you see it. But you can have extremely high levels of mold just coming from your carpet.
So how long can it be growing in the carpet where you don't even see it or notice it? Months,
years.
Okay. So once it gets in the carpet, you need to get new carpet. There's no way to fix that, right?
There's no way to fix that. And we've tried having it cleaned and testing, You really can't clean the carpet. It has to go. And if you have mold growth from high humidity, it affects everything. The furniture, the mattresses, the toys, the clothes, the luggage. So it's a big loss when you have that condition, and insurance does not cover it.
And one of the things I know that we were talking about earlier that causes mold in the carpet is mulch.
Well, actually, mulch, when you're mulching outside, the mold spore count raises a lot around your house. If you're walking through the mulch and you're walking in the house, or if you have people mulching the beds and you're walking in and out of the house, you're bringing in a certain amount of mold with that, and that mold can be toxic mold.
Ugh. Okay, so the only way to really know if it's toxic or not is to have it tested, right?
Yes.
And if you find out you have toxic mold in your house, and you remediate, you usually have to take out all the drywall that's being affected.
All the affected drywall, and so that doesn't mean that it has to be a lot of drywall. If you just had a small loss, you take out the drywall that got wet. A lot of people have this conception that anytime you have mold, it's going to cost tons of money. It doesn't have to. We try to, be somewhat practical, get the job done without overdoing the job.
Yeah, it may just be baseboards. A lot of times the house floods only 1 or 2 inches. If you catch it quickly, just fix the baseboards. If a house does flood and water gets on the drywall, and you can remove like a half wall of drywall, you don't have to remove the whole wall, right? You just remove the part that got damaged and replace it.
Yeah, and you may have to remove a little bit more if it's on a perimeter wall because moisture can wick up the insulation. But it's very rare if you've got water at the bottom of the wall that you have to go very far with that.
What do you recommend for people who have a leak in their sink, and so it drips, underneath in their cabinet, and they see all their stuff wet, and they clean it all out, and now they've got a board down there with the water stain on it. How do you fix that? Do you have to change out the board, or can it be fixed?
If it's wood, if it's solid wood and it just got wet, you just clean the board. If it's particle board, you need to take it out because it's going to grow mold.
Okay.
And if that particle board swells, it's growing mold.
All right. So high humidity is, we have high humidity in Houston. There's no getting around it. We do. So have a tester in your house. That's one of the ways that you know whether or not you have issues. And before you move into the house, have it checked for mold. And for some, like I've seen sellers before, when they move out, they'll have a closet with mold on the wall. They didn't know it was there. They've been living there years, So they take all the stuff out and now they find it. They should just have a mold expert come in and test it, or just take out that drywall and it's fixed?
Well, if it's just surface mold, and really a mold consultant has to make the call. I have people that send me pictures, and say, does this look like much to you? And a lot of times in a closet, it's just very superficial, and you can clean that off.
Okay.
If it's dense, black-looking stuff and you see a water stain, that area probably needs to be removed.
Okay. So if it's toxic, you want to remove the drywall. If it's not toxic, you might just be able to clean it.
Well, if it's superficial, the toxic molds tend to occur when you have, really wet drywall for a period of time. So, if it's caused by water penetration, you probably want to have it checked and have it taken out, or just take it out if it's a small area.
Okay. And you recommend HEPA filters, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, on new houses, I know that you had told me that they kind of changed the codes, and now they have to allow some outside air into the home. So that little regulator you were talking about that measures humidity would on your thermostat would keep you from having mold due to that outside air, right?
There's a sensor that needs to be put on the AC system.
Okay.
That knows when the humidity level is too high outside, and it will close that fresh air supply and help the air conditioner control the humidity in the home. If you don't have that sensor, you're really vulnerable to high humidity in the home.
Okay. All right. Very good. And so when you go on vacation this summer, don't don't turn the air conditioning off, right?
Right.
All right. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. Linda Lauver. And Linda, how can people reach you if they want to get a mold inspection? What's the best way to reach you?
aqtestingservices.com, or you can call me at 713-305-2719.
aqtestingservices.com. All right, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.